Hello everyone, I'm Freaky and welcome to the video. My friends, when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, or specifically Dragon Ball YouTubers, I want my fellow Dragon Ball YouTuber fans to do well with their channels. And for what most of them do, they do a fantastic job with their channels. We have what if stories, we have power scalers, we have reviewers, discussions, and so on and so on. And in my opinion, I think discussion videos are my favourite when it comes to Dragon Ball videos. You know, when they're talking about the show. Like, you have Masako sometimes talking about things going on in the series. We used to have Team 4 Stars December where they did top 12 or top 25 of the best of Dragon Ball Z. You know, like villains, sagas, transformations, techniques, games, and so on and so on. I really like those. Now, I know some YouTubers like to do what if scenarios in stories. There's YouTubers like Mondo Cool who narrates Dragon Ball mangas or fan Dragon Ball mangas. There's pixelated fights, and so on and so on and so on. But again, the discussion videos are my favourite, especially the discussions on how certain things work and how some Dragon Ball YouTubers talk about plot holes, and so on and so on. For me, those videos are fan-freaking-tastic. Now, I do have a few ideas of what Dragon Ball YouTubers can talk about. For example, there's the series between the movies, you know, the original Dragon Ball Z movies. Dragon Ball fans can talk about how a series of Dragon Ball Z could be worked around and fit into place so the movies would be able to fit in. Because that is one thing I am 100% sure that Dragon Ball Z fans has never ever talked about. Because remember, Akira Toriyama himself even said that the Dragon Ball Z movies take place in an unseen series, or a different timeline where the movies take place. You know what I'm trying to say. I mean, come on people, this is something that needs to be talked about. So if you guys want to go and check out that video, the one where I talk about the subject, you can go and check it out on my channel. Or Dragon Ball fans could make videos about the Ocean and Westwood dub and its music. And yeah, I know there's like one or two people who have talked about this, you know, the Ocean and Westwood dub. There has been one or two YouTubers who has been talking about this. But you know what, I would love to see other big YouTubers talk about the Ocean and Westwood dub more and compare them to the Funimation dub. You know, comparing them, doing top 10s of the best moments from the Ocean and Westwood dub, or saying which part has the best music, you know, that sort of stuff. And again, I've already made a video about this. This video is also on my channel, so if you guys want to go and check out that video, please do. So you guys basically got the general idea. Each Dragon Ball YouTuber have their own specialities when it comes to making Dragon Ball content. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you know what I'm talking about. And there are a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers on YouTube. There's Geekdom 101, there's Masako, there's Laughingstock Media, there's Team 4 Star, there's Quaman, Mondo Cool, there's Science Scholar, there's Revolution, and so on and so on and so on. There are loads of YouTubers who are Dragon Ball fans, who aren't Dragon Ball YouTubers, but they do make Dragon Ball content. Like, there's me, there's DBZ Iron, there's Just a Robot, so you guys know what I'm talking about. And every single one of these guys has made some really great videos contributing to the Dragon Ball Z community, like Quaman's video on the Trunks timeline, and how everything fits in within those timelines. I'm telling you guys something, that video was fan-freaking-tastic. So yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. And also, I've also given my suggestions on what Dragon Ball YouTubers could talk about. You know, the old Ocean and Westwood dub. They could compare and do top 10s and their favourite music and, you know, their favourite voice actor, you know, etc, etc, etc. And they could talk about the movie version timeline of Dragon Ball Z. And there are plenty of other things that Dragon Ball YouTubers could talk about. But now, in this video, I'm going to be giving a suggestion to my fellow Dragon Ball YouTubers on what they could talk about when it comes to Dragon Ball Z. And that thing is the bumpers that we used to see on Cartoon Network or Toonami or CNX back in the day. Now, to some of you who may or may not know, I did make a few videos talking about the bumpers that we used to see on Cartoon Network and Toonami and CNX back in the day. And I would usually talk about how good they were back in the day. The bumpers for Dragon Ball Z or Gundam, Tenchi Muyo, you know, all those cool things that was on Toonami years ago. And there was also the fun bumpers, promos, idents that was on Cartoon Network, Boomerang, and of course the bumpers that was on CNX and Toonami. And in two videos, I talk about why they're cool, why I enjoyed them, and also talk about how I'm trying to find them from 1993 all the way to 2007. Those were the bumpers that I grew up with. And the reason why it's 2007 is because that was the year Toonami stopped. Yep, Toonami was no longer on Cartoon Network. And you know what? I was sad that Toonami stopped. The shows were fantastic, the bumpers were cool, and I remember how cool they were. Not just the shows, but the bumpers too. The bumpers made the shows that was on Cartoon Network or Toonami or CNX a lot cooler. The bumpers made you hype and made you look forward to watching the shows, especially when it came to Dragon Ball Z. And it was all thanks to DBZ Iron's video, Toonami in the UK, where he talks about the history of Toonami that was in the UK back in the day. And when I saw the bumpers, I mean, oh my god, that was a blast from the past. Those bumpers that was shown on Cartoon Network or Toonami or CNX was just so freaking cool. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. I like collecting Dragon Ball Z media, and since these bumpers and promos were part of my childhood, and all these bumpers and promos were promoting Dragon Ball Z back in the day, I think I should have them in my collection too, for nostalgic reasons, and I love Dragon Ball Z, and those bumpers were cool. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'll get the CNX ones, the Cartoon Network ones, and the Boomerang ones, because I enjoyed those bumpers too. I mean, I even made a channel dedicated to Cartoon Network, CNX, Boomerang, and of course, Toonami. Bumpers, promos, idents, and so on and so on. All those things are on this channel that is dedicated to those bumpers that I grew up with as a kid. And yeah, if you guys have seen the channel, you guys will see that I've actually been slowing down a bit, uploading new bumpers, but that doesn't mean I stopped looking for bumpers. I'm just on a little bit of a break. I mean, I've got loads of bumpers to upload to this channel. I just need some time to actually get to it, because I'm also busy making videos and doing other things. I'm just really busy, but eventually I will get back to uploading more bumpers. Again, I have found loads of bumpers, promos and idents that I haven't uploaded to this channel yet, but again, I will eventually upload more. Anyways, when it comes to the Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT bumpers, promos and idents that were shown on Toonami, Cartoon Network, Boomerang, CNX, those bumpers made Dragon Ball Z look so much cooler, and they made me hype and look forward to of what was going to happen next in the next arc or the next few episodes. I mean, heck, some of these promotions and bumpers almost felt like AMVs most of the time, and they were just so freaking cool. I just loved them, and to this day I'm still looking for more Dragon Ball bumpers, promos and idents, simply because I just love them so much. I mean, heck, there's this one bumper that was promoting the Cell games, and it had Triple H's entrance music going, "It's time to play the game! The Cell games for 1 whole hour on Dragon Ball Z, only on Cartoon Network," or something like that. The thing is, I do have that bumper, but around 10 seconds of it is missing. So yeah, some of these idents and bumpers and idents that I have found aren't in the best of shapes, like having a few seconds knocked off them, or the static is terrible, you know, stuff like that. Anyways, the main point of what I'm trying to get across is that when we was watching Dragon Ball Z for the first time, we also saw those bumpers that was shown on Toonami and Cartoon Network and CNX years ago. And you know what? I would love to hear what my fellow YouTubers of Dragon Ball Z thinks about the bumpers, the promos, the idents, etc. that revolved around the bumpers of Dragon Ball Z. Now, before anybody says anything like, "Oh, but freaky," even if Dragon Ball YouTubers was to make videos about these bumpers, it would take them a very long time to look for the ones that they're looking for. Well, the thing is, again, I do have a channel that's dedicated to the bumpers that I grew up with. So, to my Dragon Ball Z fans / YouTubers, if you want to go and check out that channel, please do. You might be able to find the bumpers and promos that you're looking for. And also, one more thing, the UK and the USA bumpers are completely different, because in America, the bumpers and promos that were shown in the USA and in the UK, I've never actually seen the USA ones, and I'm pretty sure that the people who was in America didn't see the UK ones. But you know, I would really love to see what the Americans think of their bumpers of Dragon Ball Z, and UK Dragon Ball Z YouTubers doing the same. Now, if you guys saw my top 10 bumpers of Dragon Ball Z, you'll know what I'm talking about. And also, not to mention, there's also the Dragon Ball Z bumpers that's also on my other YouTube channel. And you know what? I would love to hear what Masako X, Revolution, Saiyan Scholar, DBZ Armorin, and all the other British Dragon Ball Z YouTubers have to say about these bumpers that were shown on Toonami years ago. And not only that, maybe our friends from Australia or Canada or America can talk about their own bumpers and say what they think of their bumpers. Or they could talk about other countries' bumpers. They could talk about why they're important, or they could do a top 10. They could talk about why they were cool, or they could talk about which one's their favourite. This is a subject I would love Dragon Ball Z YouTubers to talk about. So to all my fellow Dragon Ball YouTubers, I would love to hear of what you guys have to say about the Dragon Ball Z bumpers and promos that we used to watch on Toonami or Cartoon Network years ago. I mean, DBZ Armorin made 3 videos about the ocean and blue water dub, and he talks about the lost media of Dragon Ball Z, and of course he talks about Toonami in the UK. And you know what? Those videos were very interesting, and I would love to hear what my fellow Dragon Ball Z fans thinks of the Dragon Ball Z bumpers that were shown on Toonami, Cartoon Network and Boomerang and CNX years ago. Come on, you guys have to admit that they were pretty damn cool back in the day. I mean, if Dragon Ball YouTubers can talk about the show, like techniques, transformations, and what they think about the latest chapters and the latest episodes, and so on and so on and so on, that's within the series, and they talk about the games, they talk about the movies, then why not the bumpers? Yeah, sure, they're not part of the series, but technically they were adverts that was pumping you up for the next saga. And you know what? I definitely enjoyed them. The Saiyan Menace, the Frieza Saga, the Cell games, and so on and so on. For me, those bumpers and promos was just as part as Dragon Ball Z, like any other media. You know, movies, games, mangas, etc, etc. So in my opinion, I definitely think that Dragon Ball Z YouTubers should talk about the bumpers and say how and why they were important and what they liked about them or what they disliked about them. I just think they should give more light to these bumpers, because I definitely think that these promos and bumpers should definitely be in the spotlight once again. So yeah, that's all I gotta say here. So what do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Did you enjoy the bumpers and promos of Dragon Ball Z when they were being shown on Toonami and Cartoon Network? Please let me know in the comments section below, and let's get a discussion going. I'm Freaky. Peace out. And please don't forget to check out my other social medias. Please go and check out my alternative video platforms: Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Twitch, and please come and hang out on my Discord server. We can play games, have a movie night or a series night, or you can watch me play a few games. And if you guys have any suggestions of any videos you want me to react to, or any video ideas in general, you can tell me on my Discord. I'm also on Twitter, Gab, Getter, and Paula. I'm on Locals, Tumblr, Minds, and if you guys want to support me, please go and check out my Subscribestar. It's like Patreon, but better. All these things are in the description box below, so please go and check them out and subscribe to them. I'm Geek Freak. Peace out.